Yo, I wanted to talk about a TV show that I've been watching lately. And I've been watching it a lot lately because I watched it through once by myself, and then Beth and Robbie, the three of us watched it again together, and that TV show is The Wire, right? So for the past I don't know, like 3 months now, I feel like all I've been watching is The fucking Wire. Because it is a long television show, right? And that's what I want to talk about. Is it worth your time to sit down and commit to watching The Wire in 2026? And I am going to tentatively say yes to that. And the reason I say so tentatively is because The Wire has, the same format that a lot of shows in an hour long format have, right? In the sense that there are like 100 fucking characters, right? And at any given time, there's like half a dozen to a dozen storylines occurring in each season and also across seasons, right? And so The Wire, all said and told, I think is like, it's around like 60 hours of runtime, right? And the thing about it is that greater context will help you understand some of the best moments in a more meaningful way, right? But it's 60 hours of television. Far and away, the best part of The Wire is Bubbles and Omar, right? Bubbles, played by Andre Royo, and Omar, played by Michael K. Williams, right? Uh, obviously everyone's going to have their own opinion on this, but when I want to recommend The Wire to people, what I really want to recommend is that they become familiar with both Omar and Bubbles, right? Everyone on the cop side of things, which unfortunately is a large part of the show, uh, is boring to me, right? And the reason it's boring to me is because The Wire does a pretty consistent kind of depiction of the police as totally fucking inept, right? And basically, what that means is that every single season that goes by, Perdita, are you a good doggy? Can you calm down? Sit. She's all excited because I'm talking. She thinks I'm talking to her. She doesn't understand recording. Um, but point being though is that The Wire is like 60 hours of television, right? And every Bubbles scene put together is about 2.5 hours long. And every Omar scene put together is a little under 2 hours long, right? So when I recommend The Wire to people, what I really want to recommend to people is like 5 hours of television, right? Um, because there are definitely, you know, other moments in the show that, are definitely like tearjerkers. They're emotional, they're funny, right? There's a lot of good shit going on in The Wire, entertainment wise, aside from just Omar and Bubbles, right? But it really is the fact that the cop side of things and the main character on the cop side of things, McNulty, played by Dominic West, it's slow. It's the slowest part of the show by a significant margin. And the thing is ultimately these incredibly slow, meticulous efforts, over and over in this show ultimately amount to nothing at all, right? Because of some, fuck up by one of the officers, or like a clerical error, or in some cases the cops are just doing shit that's like straight up illegal, and when it comes to court it's like, okay, well, whatever. They just kind of let it go, right? Um, like the three guys that they're really trying to get in this show, right? And I'm not trying to make this like spoiler heavy, but I'm not trying to make it spoiler free either, right? Uh, so Avon and Stringer and Marlowe, right? All of the cop shit is like, oh, we have to get Avon. Oh, we have to get Stringer. Oh, we have to get Marlowe, right? And in the end, they don't get any of those fucking guys, basically. The closest they get is they do eventually put Avon in jail, but that isn't even really because of anything that they actually did on the police side of things. One of Avon's compatriots just sold him out wholesale to the police, um, and that's how they eventually got him, right? Um, but yeah, season two is super funny with like all the union guys and stuff. Ziggy is a fucking tornado of a human being. I can't remember the actor's name, but he also passed away somewhat recently. That plays Ziggy. uh but yeah, it's also, I guess, basically how you how I would want you to engage with The Wire really depends on how much time you have, right? If you feel like you have enough time to watch 60 hours of television, then yeah, you should watch The Wire, and then you should hit me up on Discord and we should talk about The Wire, right? Because I am watching this television show extremely beyond its relevance, right? The show is like 25 fucking years old now. Um, and but if you don't have that much time, then I would say go and look up Bubbles, The Wire, all scenes, and Omar, The Wire, all scenes, and just go watch those, right? um because Bubbles is definitely the heart of the show, right? um in the sense that his struggle with addiction is definitely, to me, the most human element of The Wire. Um, and Omar, on the other hand, he's just fucking cool. Every time that he's around, every time that he's on screen, he's just a cool fucking guy saying cool shit, and, doing cool stuff. But, um, that's the long and short of it. Basically, is I watched The Wire twice in a row. Basically, like I watched it all the way through and then immediately started it over and watched it again. Uh, with people as opposed to by myself. And yeah, we finished. I was gonna make a video after I watched it the first time, but then we started the rewatch, and I was like, you know what? I should really just like finish this rewatch and then make the video. And we finished the rewatch, I think, like a week ago. So I've had some time to kind of like stew on it and collect my thoughts. There's a lot of back and forth, I feel, in online discourse over whether or not The Wire is copaganda, right? And I do think it's interesting because there's definitely propaganda in The Wire and all over The Wire. Characters in the show say that the police are important, and good police work is a phrase that comes up a lot, right? uh, Implying that there's even such a thing as good police work. The thing about it, though, is when you just analyze the facts of what you see the cops do in the TV show, to me it feels hard to come to any other conclusion other than it's just fucked, right? Like, there is no fixing this system. Like that's it almost feels like what The Wire is trying to get across is that the system is so fucked up that there is almost no hope of actually fixing it, right? But I feel like broadly speaking, um David Simon and Ed Burns don't put a lot of their, like it doesn't feel like they are injecting. There's a lot of talk about how The Wire almost feels like a documentary, right? And it's not in the sense that it's like, oh, so realistic that you actually think that this shit is actually happening. Like it's definitely TV. People talk like they're on TV, it's but in its depiction of issues in Baltimore, it is brutally honest, Um and the thing is it's like, not every cop is brutalizing black children, but the ones that aren't brutalizing black children spend a lot of time covering up and protecting the ones that do, right? And we see this happen twice, like very blatantly in the show. Um, in season one and in season four, we see officers. The first time it's a white officer, the second time it's a black officer. Prez and can't remember the other one's name. I think it's Walker. I'm not 100% sure on that, but they just brutalize black children, right? And they see no repercussion for that, Uh in the sense that like Prez, when he like knocks a fucking black teenager's eye out of his head, um his lieutenant covers for him and helps him fabricate a lie. And the only bad thing that happens to him is he just has to do office work and isn't allowed to carry a gun around anymore, right? Um, and it's like, yeah, I mean, like I said, like when you actually like step back and examine it, it's like, yeah, the police don't do anything, right? And it's also like really, you know, it definitely seems to me like if the police were not present at all in The Wire, that there would be way less violence happening in Baltimore in general, because we see that a lot of violence that happens in the show happens because of police pressure, right? It's because, someone is you know, testifying as like a witness, or there are fewer, revenue streams because the police have like seized, goods or property, and that makes people desperate, right? Um, like it's not like nobody gets killed without the police being around, right? But it's like the more the police get involved, the more violence happens, not even from the police, but just in the community that the police are present in. Um, just by their mere agitating presence, they are, fucking everything up. Um, so I guess I should probably rank my seasons, my favorite seasons. Off the bat, 1, 3, 5, 2, and 4. And I know that that is probably not like, um, so put it this way, right? 1 and 3 are way ahead of the rest for me, right? If I'm gonna ever go back and like rewatch The Wire, I'm probably gonna rewatch like season 1 and 3 and skip really all the other ones, right? Uh, but the thing, like I know season 4, a lot of people like it and it's very critically acclaimed, and audiences enjoy it quite a bit as well. Um, but season 4 mostly hinges on uh a teacher in an inner city school, right? And there's like we talked about it on stream, but there's like a million movies like this. I was about to say Do the Right Thing. That's definitely not one of them, but like Lean on Me, right, with Morgan Freeman, and there's like the like Ron, the white guy too. Fuck me. I wish I had like the list of them in front of me here, because now I feel like I'm making this shit up. But you know what I mean, right? And we talked about the one where it's like the one that South Park did a parody of, right? Where South Park, Eric Cartman's all like, "How do I reach these keys?" It's a lot of that, right? Like it's a teacher desperately trying to like raise the, and it ends the exact same, season 4 ends the exact same fucking way that all of those movies do, where it's like, oh my god, in the end their test scores did go up, and it's like, oh, he couldn't like make them understand math when it was about trains, but they understand it when it's about like drugs and dice games and shit. And it's like, I just find that shit exhausting, to put it lightly, right? So season 4 is honestly my least favorite season by a pretty significant amount. Just because I just don't enjoy the premise, right? And Marlowe as a villain is not nearly charismatic as Stringer and Avon, right? Um, season 4 is definitely around the time where it's like, they're like, all right, we kind of wrapped up the story, that because the story that started in season 1 gets wrapped up by season 3, right? And then season 4 and 5, it's basically like a different fucking TV show altogether. Yeah, but that's just kind of the long and short of it. Just wanted to chit chat about The Wire a little bit. I hope y'all enjoyed hearing my thoughts on it. Um, I think I'll cap off this video by saying fuck Dominic West. I think Dominic West is a totally shit actor. And it sucks that he is like the main guy in this fucking TV show. Honestly, my favorite thing about season 4 was the fact that McNulty was barely in it. I just wish he was. I like honestly, I wish McNulty was just like fucking killed at some point, and we just got to like hang out with like Kima and Daniels and Bunk and stuff. But yeah, yeah, it's been real. You can catch the Twitch stream and the Discord and stuff. It'll all be in the description. If any of you have seen The Wire, definitely let me know what you think about that shit. And if you haven't seen The Wire, then watch it according to the Fever Reaver watch guide, and get back to it, right? So again, the Fever Reaver watch guide is, if you have 60 hours, watch the whole thing. If you have 20 hours, watch seasons 1 and 3. And if you only have 5 hours, just watch Omar and Bubbles on YouTube. Oh, and The Wire the musical. Can't forget that. That's a very important part. Whenever you're done with your watch, in whatever format you decide to watch your shit in, uh, The Wire the musical to cap it off. Alright, later.